We're gonna be making an amazing smoked chili, and we're starting the day before we're actually going to assemble the chili so that we can get the meat prepared so that it can go into that chili. All we're doing is taking this 5.5, 6 pound, I think it was about 5.8 pound chuck roast, and it's a choice cut. It's nothing too special. It's not Wagyu or prime or any of that, and this is just fine to put into the chili. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be adding a mixture. I added some salt, pepper, and garlic, a tablespoon of a mixture of that. I had a tablespoon of chili powder, a tablespoon of onion powder, some ground cumin, about a tablespoon of that, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, a teaspoon of Chipotle chili powder, and a teaspoon of oregano. I think that's everything. And I mixed it all up in here. And I just did rough estimates of that, use my hand to measure it out, shook it up in the shaker here, and now we're just gonna be applying it pretty generously to this piece of meat. This chili is amazing. We're gonna smoke it in pecan, maybe a little cherry wood, and we're going to slow cook it tomorrow, and it's gonna be delicious. Now we wanna cover all the different sides of the meat. You can see anytime you buy a really big chuck roast, it's gonna come in 2 parts. Get this all over, every crevice, every crack, anywhere you can get it. And I'm doing it here in this pan so that I can catch everything. And so as I let it sit and permeate into the meat, it doesn't leak all over the place. Don't be afraid to use it all. This is a big hunk of meat. It's gonna get smoked for about 4 to 5 hours, and it's gonna sweat through all of this anyway. If you notice, I didn't put a binder on, nothing like that. None of that's needed. You can see this mixture, because it's all fine ground, is sticking to the meat perfectly. Wanna make sure we have really good coverage. Once we dice this up and we add this into the chili, it's gonna break down. All this intramuscular fat is going to break down in the chili, and it's going to add an umami and a flavor that you just can't beat. So much better than using ground beef or anything like that. Of course, if you want to do chicken, that's a whole different ball game, or something like that, ground turkey, whole different ball game. That's a different type of chili. This one's with beef. All right. We're gonna let this chuck roast just chill out. So chuck roast isn't the only kind of meat that you can put in this chili. If you have leftover brisket or some other sort of meat, it's just a cheaper cut, and it's real easy to smoke quickly and then get it into the chili, and it comes out amazing. So we're gonna let this sit for a little while we go get our ribs off, and when we come back, we're gonna put this into the smoker with some pecan and cherry wood. We're outside. We have our chuck roast that's been absorbing all of these spices. You can see how awesome it looks already. We've got our pit barrel cooker up to temp now, and we're gonna be putting it on. We just cooked ribs on here, so there's a lot of residual smoke from that. So what I did was I put our heat deflector in, and then I put the grill grates right down here, so you can see that we're not getting the direct heat, and those are gonna get some nice pecan and cherry smoke. I'll be running this anywhere between 275 and 300 degrees. We just brought this chuck roast in off of the smoker, and we let it rest for about 45 minutes. It's cooled down to the touch now, and we're gonna slice it up. We already sliced up the other half. It took about 5 hours of smoking, and we brought it up to the internal temperature of 180 degrees. We had it in some pecan and some cherry smoke. Smells amazing. Now, what I wanna do with this is cut it into 1/2-inch pieces. So I'm going to cut across this way. So we're gonna start by cutting this in half, long ways, and then we're going to just slice it off into bite-sized pieces. Now the beautiful thing about this is this meat isn't completely broken down yet, but when we add it to the chili in the morning, it's definitely going to continue breaking down that intramuscular fat, and it's just going to incorporate all these delicious flavors into the chili. Once I get it sliced lengthwise, then I'll just slice it on the short way. Be careful with your knife here. This is exactly the time where you can have an accident. So just take it easy, take it slow, make sure that you're being safe with your knife. The smell that's coming off of here is absolutely amazing. I can smell that pecan wood. I can smell the cumin and the spices that were in the rub. It just had plenty of time to sit in that smoker and do its thing. And these other pieces, we can just cut those individually. So now that I have it diced up just like this, I'm gonna put this all into a container and put it out in the refrigerator overnight so it can cool down. And then in the morning when I add it into our chili pot, this is gonna start to cook with the chili right in the beginning. And all this fat, all this meat is going to break down to where it's juicy and delicious. And it just adds something amazing to the chili flavor. We're going to go put this in the refrigerator and we'll see you in the morning when we're putting the chili together. Okay, so it's day 2 and we're just roasting up our vegetables now. Got a couple of nice poblano peppers and I'm putting these right over the fire. We want to not cook them, but blister the outside. We've got a sweet onion I just cut into wheels. I'm gonna lay these on here. And a red, this is the best red pepper I could get, a red bell pepper. And we're just going to be blistering all of this. Get it as close to the flame as you can. The smell.
Already smells so good.
Yeah, the smell that's coming off of it is incredible. So I left these nice and cold so that it doesn't cook the inside. That's the type of blistering you want to see right there. We want it to turn pretty much black. Okay, so this is exactly what we're looking for these peppers. We got a nice black char. We're gonna put these in a baggie now so that they can sweat out. That's perfect. It's exactly what you wanna see. Now we wanna get the rest of these vegetables nice and charred up. The red bell pepper, we're going to do exactly like we did the poblanos. The onions, we're just gonna get some grill marks on there. The smell is out of this world right now. Okay, so now we're just gonna take these and put them into this bag, into this baggie. It's just a gallon Ziploc freezer bag. And we want to seal it up, and you can see it's already starting to film up in there. It's going to sweat these out and then we'll be able to pull the skin right off of there. All right, so here's where we're going to be putting the chili together. The first thing we need to do is get these peppers that we had just blistered up out of the bag. These smell amazing. So we just turn the skins black, which is going to make it very easy. A lot of people rinse these under the sink. Do not do that. Okay, so you want to get this skin and pull it off in one fell swoop if you can. Those little black bits are going to get all over the place if you don't. On the top, bring it the other way. Don't drop your pepper into the trash. They are slick. I find wearing these black gloves and doing it this way is probably the easiest way. And like I said, some of this char can stay on, but we want to get the bulk of it off. Okay, so now that we have the skins off of these, we just want to take the seeds out. Very simple, just cut off the ends here. We want to slice this right down the middle here. Open it up, and all of this, scrape it right out. And all those seeds will get discarded. They're bitter. No point in having any of those near your food. It's not going to add any value. And we're going to repeat this with the other poblano as well as the red bell pepper. And then we're going to chop up our onions, and we'll see you after we do that. So continuing on with putting this chili together, we brought out our chuck roast that we had last night on the smoker. We smoked that for about 5 hours with that pecan wood and the cherry wood, and it's smelling great still. It's all cooled down now. We're going to add some other things to it. Here is the diced vegetables that we just roasted and took the skins off of. We're gonna add those in. I used about 3/4 of that sweet onion, 2 poblano peppers, and 1 red bell pepper. I just de-seeded them, took the core out, and diced it up, threw it in there. I'm also going to add a 24-ounce can of diced tomatoes. We browned up some breakfast sausage. You can use spicy sausage for this, or you can use any type of sausage that you want. We don't like it overly spicy, and I add a lot of chilies in here, so I'm just gonna add that breakfast sausage in there. It's just some Jimmy Dean's mild. Let me give this a little bit of a stir, start incorporating some of this. Start getting some of that meat up here. Not easy to do from this angle. Okay. This is 4 cloves of minced garlic, 2 chipotles in adobo sauce, diced up. Last ingredient I'm adding here is going to be our chili seasoning mix. Now I'll add what I put into this chili seasoning mix down in the description below because there's a lot of things in it. You can see how much spice there is there. A whole bunch of things. I'll just add it at the bottom and you can take a look. Now I did use the Lakanto monk fruit sweetener instead of sugar because I want to keep the glycemic index low. Now I'm going to coat all of these pieces right through here and incorporate it. So this is a lot of meat. You don't have to add this much meat. You can add 4 pounds, 3.5 pounds, but we did about 5.5 pounds because I like the meat in there. Once you start seeing that all these things are getting a nice coating and that it's incorporating really well, now is the point where we can start adding our liquids. I'm gonna add a quart of beef broth. This is just some store-bought Central Market. And I'm putting the whole quart in here. Get it nice and happy. I'm gonna add some hot sauce. I'm using some Killer Hogs today. You can use any hot sauce that you want. About 2 tablespoons worth. Might be a little much, but that's okay. About a 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce. About a 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce. Add that in there for depth of flavor. And now we're going to be adding some tomato paste, about 2 tablespoons. I just add half the can, and it seems to work that way. Now we give it another mix and incorporate everything together. It's already smelling nice. Okay, so we want this chili for dinner. It takes about 4 hours to finish up. We're gonna put this in the smoker for 2.5 hours right now. We're gonna come back out. I'm gonna add some beans because I like beans in my chili. You know, you might not. Feel free to leave that out. Feel free to leave any of these things out. Make it your own. Make this recipe your own. This is just a nice starting point for a really great chili. So now that this is all nice and incorporated, we're gonna take this out to the smoker and put it on at 300 degrees for 2.5 hours and then go check on it. Leave it uncovered. All right, so here we are at the smoker. We've got it just at about 300 degrees, and we're still keeping on this pit barrel cooker. I wanted to do the whole cook on one cooker. I have the plate in the bottom to make it an indirect cook, and the grate up top. Now we're just gonna shut it down. Level it out at 300 degrees, and let it sit for 2.5 hours, uncovered. Okay, so it's been 2 hours. I came out after an hour and stirred this. Now, I'm checking it out here. You can see that some of this oil from the meat has risen to the top. We're just giving this a quick stir again. So you can see some of this beef is picking up a little extra color, starting to get a little bit tender, and this entire chili mixture is reducing. You can see it's gone down about 1/2 inch in the bowl. So I'm just stirring this up. And we're gonna come back out in about a 1/2 hour to 45 minutes and add the beans. All right, so this is the point where we are adding our beans. Again, you don't have to, but we like beans in our chili. So I'm just adding these dark kidney beans. They're the chili beans from Bush's. And the reason we're waiting to add these is we don't want these to get mushy. You can add 1 can, 2 cans. We're just adding it for a little extra texture in there. Smelling great. All right, the next time we come out to look at this, should be time to serve it up and take it off this grill. Okay, so we're checking on our chili. And you can see we have that good separation up here. We're just gonna stir this up and it should be done. Give it a good mix. At this point, it's looking really done to me. I'm gonna try a piece of this. It's really good. We're gonna bring it in and we're gonna put it in a bowl and put some extra toppings on it. So we'll see you in there. We just pulled the chili off and we brought it inside, and I went ahead and I put some in a bowl with a little bit of Mexican cheese blend, some sour cream, a little bit of chopped onion, and some cilantro. You can even squeeze some lime over this if you have some. You can serve it without any of that. This is just amazing. So let's give it a taste. I'm gonna get all that in there. Oh yeah, ooh, it's hot. Oh man, Right off the bat, just an explosion of flavor. I'm tasting the pecan from that chuck roast. All those spices that are in there, it's perfect. There's just a little bit of spice. If you like your chili a little bit spicier, add a few more of those chipotles in adobo sauce, or add some cayenne pepper, maybe about a teaspoon when you're doing your chili mix. Otherwise, this chili is perfect. I absolutely love it. I've won a competition with it before. It's fantastic. Everybody that eats this chili seems to love it. So give it a try at home. Do it your way. Add different flavors if that's what you want. But this is awesome. We're gonna go ahead and bowl this up and eat it right now. This is a perfect meal for Super Bowl Sunday or any events that you're having at your house. It'll feed 10 to 12 people if you make this amount. Probably more like 12, depending on the amount that people are eating. Use some tortilla chips or some bread to sop it up, and it's just a fantastic meal. Give it a try. This is awesome. Ooh.
So good.
So good.